Does anything ever go quite the way you plan it? Especially when what you are planning relies on many different people? Well, God promised Abraham that he would become a great nation. And we said that a nation needs 1, people, 2, a leader, 3, laws, and 4, land. At this point in our story, it's been 40 years since the Israelites had left Egypt, and they've lost a whole generation of people. But there's also been a new generation of people born into this nomadic mass of people wandering around the wilderness. So they have people. Joshua is leading this group at the moment, so they have a leader. For now. They have the law that Moses received from God, and now they are working on claiming the land that the Lord promised them. And it's a good start. They cross the Jordan River on dry ground. They build a monument with rocks from the river bed at a place called Gilgal. And they win a victory by following the strange instructions from God at Jericho. But something goes wrong. The next battle, a simple battle, becomes a devastating defeat. And God's promises are now in question. What went wrong? Well, consider this example. This tool has one purpose: to drive screws through 2 or more items in order to hold them together. I wonder, does it matter to anyone or anything if this tool is used for other tasks? I mean, after all, what this tool does on its own time does not matter as long as it does what is required of it when a task is at hand. Right? There was a task when I lived in Illinois where I needed to pry a cover from a basement drain. And rather than finding the correct tool, I used this screwdriver. If I want to use this as a screwdriver now, it barely works because I damaged it. You see, functioning outside of your purpose is one way of viewing sin. We think that what we do in our private life has no relevance for the greater community, but God tells us otherwise. When it's time for you to be used for God's mission, you find that you are a damaged tool that is not functioning in the community the way you were designed to function. And therefore, you're unable to love your brothers and sisters as effectively as you would have been if you had guarded how you had conducted your private times. Sin isn't merely about not doing bad things. Sin is also failing to do the good things that you were designed to do. We too often say things like, I didn't hurt anyone, or I didn't do anything wrong. But this is not the complete picture of sin which God shows us. We must learn that it's just as much sin to fail to actively do good for our neighbor as it is for us to do harm to our neighbor. Today, you'll learn about Achan. Achan's sin has consequences that are devastating and heartbreaking, both for himself and the entire Israelite community. God wants his people to remember this important lesson. Sin is never just between you and God. Sin always affects others. Remember the 12 stones from the Jordan River that were set up as a memorial at a place called Gilgal? The Israelites continue to return to that location, and it's here that they deal with Achan's sin. Much will be remembered at this location. Good and bad, joyful and sad, peaceful and devastating. I hope you are remembering what God is teaching you. Setting up reminders in your life can help you avoid repeating some of the same mistakes over and over. In fact, one of the reasons we have these stories is so that we might avoid the mistakes that others who came before us made. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 10:6, "Now these things took place as examples for us, so that we will not desire evil things as they did." So, as we work through these stories, let us not take them lightly. Let's actually learn what God wants us to learn, that we may be faithful tools in the hands of God, our master creator. Then we will be ready to be used for the good of everyone around us.